It's the 29th of March 2019. CCTV records college senior Samantha Josephson leaving her friend's party. Tired and wanting to go home, she booked an Uber for herself. The ride was confirmed to be on its way. The driver showed up shortly after, but Samantha didn't realize she was entering the wrong Uber. The darkened windows made it impossible to see what was happening inside, but as the car drove off in the wrong direction, it didn't take long for her to realize that she had become her Uber driver's next victim.
A USC student reported missing yesterday evening has been found dead. She's 21-year-old Samantha Josephson, who friends called Sammy.
As a nationwide manhunt began, new clues emerged about the possible suspect. Police would realize the rabbit hole went deeper than anyone expected, leading them down a dark path.
Hold your car over because the match is a suspect. Get your hand in your pocket. What are you, crazy? Get over here. Hey, get over here! Go and run! Hey, I'm gonna release the dog!
Columbia is home to the University of South Carolina, and for students, the place to be on a Thursday night is an area called 5 Points. The Bird Dog Bar is right in the heart of it, so as 2 a.m. approaches, the streets become crowded with people looking for something to eat or catch a ride home. That's what college senior Samantha Josephson was trying to do. Catch a ride home. Hailing from Robbinsville, New Jersey, she was about to complete her studies and was set to graduate in May. In honor of her acceptance into law school, her friends decided to throw her a small party. Footage from the surveillance cameras shows nothing suspicious happening around her during the party. She is happy, drinking, and talking with her friends. Around 2 a.m., she leaves the party and calls an Uber to go home. The ride was confirmed to be on its way. However, it appears that when she stepped outside, instead of turning right to meet her driver, she went left. They never managed to meet up, and eventually her Uber driver canceled the ride since he couldn't find her. Unaware of the cancellation, she approached a few other cars, mistakenly thinking they were hers, but quickly realized they weren't. The Uber was supposed to be a dark-colored Dodge, but a dark-colored Chevy Impala was also nearby. The Chevy had been circling 5 Points like a shark in the water, searching for its next victim. The driver spent a lot of time hunting for someone vulnerable, and that's when he found someone who was clearly confused and disoriented. And that was the moment she got into the car, thinking it was her Uber. From that point on, she was not seen on any surveillance footage.
What's your emergency?
Hi, we were just gonna call to let you know our friend is missing.
Where are you located?
1426 Main Street.
Is he missing from his address?
We went out in 5 Points last night, and she still hasn't made it home. Her phone's dead. We don't think she, went home with, a guy or anything. We're, actually, worried. So she missed work this morning.
All right. What is your apartment number?
901.
All right. And what is her name?
Samantha Josephson.
And you remember what she was wearing?
She was wearing a bright orange shirt with black pants.
And y'all was in 5 Points, you said? Last seen in 5 Points?
Yes.
All right, we got it. So we're going to send an officer out there so y'all can make that report, okay?
Okay, thank you so much for the help.
You're welcome, no problem.
That was the 911 call made by her roommate after Samantha Josephson went missing. The entire Columbia Police Department began searching for the black Chevy Impala. As the investigation progressed, new clues emerged about the possible suspect. The staff at a Wendy's drive-thru reported they may have seen the suspect in his car with a white sheet covering the headrest and part of the back seat. However, there was still no sign of Samantha Josephson. Unfortunately, that same day, Samantha's body was discovered in a field in the town of New Zion, Clarendon County. When Officer Jeffrey Kraft began his shift, he decided to patrol the 5 Points area where Samantha had disappeared. At around 2 a.m., he spotted someone who perfectly matched the suspect's description. Officer Kraft cautiously moved toward the vehicle, determined not to let the suspect slip away. It wasn't long before he successfully pulled him over. At this point, Officers didn't yet know that Samantha's body had already been discovered. They were still hoping to find her alive in the car.
What's going on, sir? You got your license? You got your license on you? I'm also Craig, Columbia Police Department K9.
Oh, no, sir. I got a license.
He told the officer that he didn't have a driver's license, but the officer realized something was off. A strong odor of marijuana was coming from the vehicle.
Who's smoking the marijuana?
Marijuana was still legal at that time in South Carolina, but he was clearly nervous, so Kraft decided to get him out of the car.
I pulled your car over because it matches the suspect. Get your hand in your pocket. What are you, crazy? Get over here. Hey, get over here!
Surely this suspect isn't acting on impulse or running out of panic. He has done something that compelled him to flee, just like typical criminals do.
Walk him up. Doors blocked, 500 block. Nunez, keep going. He's going to be on your left.
He was fast, leaving the cops behind in no time.
10-4, I'm going to go back to the car.
But a female passenger was in the front seat, and she probably knew who the driver was.
What's his name? Nate?
His name is Nate, marking the first lead on the suspect.
Whose car is this? His car? Does it usually have pink keychain? It's a sister.
Police found room keys and a pink iPhone, items that likely belonged to Samantha Josephson.
Hey, do you know what kind of cell phone R81 has? I'm finding the girl's cell phone and the girl's keys in the driver's seat.
Yeah, the back wheel's bad.
Yeah, that's a pink iPhone. Pink keys with a USB drive. Is it good for students?
Right, yeah.
And the keys labeled room.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird.
But the strangest discovery was the backseat of the car, where blood was everywhere.
Look at the back seat right here.
There's blood all over his car, man.
Yeah, we're not going to touch anything else. Yeah. Just leave what we got for now.
Makes sense now.
The suspect, Nate, was apprehended just a few blocks away from where he fled.
I got him. Get on the ground. Stop moving. Come on, man. Sit up. Yeah, I know. You're tired after running. I get it. Sit up. Come on, man. Where's your ID? What's your name? You don't have ID?
He claimed he had the flu, so the officers called EMTs to check him out and then take him in for questioning. He was soon identified as Nathaniel Rowland. Nathaniel was reluctant to provide much information, carefully exercising his Miranda rights to remain silent, knowing anything he said could be used against him in a court of law.
Nathaniel. Oh, it's me. Huh? You been asleep? When's the last time you went to sleep? If you're too sleepy to talk to me or too tired to talk to me, I want you to tell me. You don't feel like talking? Well, I think I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's information that you can provide to us that would be very helpful. And I think you need to. You don't have anything to say?
The silence of a suspect can be frustrating for detectives, and that's exactly what Nathaniel's doing.
I challenge you, Nathaniel. I challenge you to think hard about the last couple of days. I challenge you to tell the truth. I challenge you to show your remorse. I challenge you to do that. It'll be your benefit. Out of respect. Why are you saying that?
Nathaniel knew the detectives had no evidence proving he was driving the car that night, so he remained silent, withholding any information, causing the detectives to hit a dead end. That's when investigators questioned his girlfriend Maria, believing she was the only one who could provide useful information related to the case.
This room is set up as a camera. As a camera is set up for audio, video recording. Okay. Like so, we just want to get some information from you. Okay. Do you have any idea where we're at now in a day? What date or day we're talking about now?
The 28th was Thursday, I think. He picked me up from work that night, that evening. So we talked for a little bit in the bed until I fell asleep.
But he slept there and stayed there that night? All right. Next morning you gotta go back to work or y'all that in?
I gotta go back to work.
What time?
I had to be to work at 7 o'clock.
So he took you to work then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was late.
I mean, like, thought he was there.
He must have got up and left. He came back and he took me to work.
Okay, what time do you think you fell asleep?
around 1:30.
Maria said he left after she fell asleep and the time was around 1:30, which makes sense. He left Maria's house, went to 5 Points, kidnapped and murdered Samantha, and then came back to Maria's house to take her to work in the morning.
Okay, did you look into that? What all did you see?
It didn't look like, it just looked like something was clean. And I was like, what you cleaning? Like,
He said what?
I had to clean the car. I was like, no, that car smells like clothes. I feel like if I light a cigarette, I'm gonna blow up.
But it wasn't that simple for investigators to prove Nathaniel was the primary driver, as no cameras captured him entering or exiting the vehicle. Nor was it clear whether he was the man attempting to use Samantha's debit card at various ATMs. Since Samantha was not sexually assaulted, there was no semen to test for DNA, and no DNA evidence belonging to Nathaniel Rowland was found anywhere on her body, including under her fingernails. However, the forensic team uncovered a crucial clue on the black Chevy Impala. A footprint on the back seat window, a sign of Samantha Josephson's attempt to escape. But there was another critical piece of evidence, an eviction notice from Maria to Nathaniel. Investigators rushed to the location where they discovered a pile of physical evidence in the trash, including cleaning supplies, paper towels, and the murder weapon, all covered in blood. But Nathaniel refused to admit or confess to anything at all.
You are officially charged with kidnapping and murder, Nick. I told you this was coming early.
I did not kidnap or murder anyone.
Okay. You wish to talk with me or not? Yes or no? Okay.
We'll proceed now to opening statements from the state.
As the trial began, State Attorney Byron Gibson opened the case for prosecution.
We believe that the simple explanation is that Nathaniel David Rowland kidnapped Samantha Josephson. We believe that the simple explanation is that Nathaniel David Rowland murdered Samantha Josephson. And we believe the simple explanation in this case is that Nathaniel David Rowland possessed a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. And we believe those things because it's not only the simple explanation, but it's the right explanation. And ultimately, after you hear all of the evidence in this case, we'll be asking that you return a verdict of guilty of all counts because he is indeed guilty in all counts. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience.
However, the prosecutor was aware that the defense would highlight the missing DNA evidence that could link Rowland to the crime scene.
When the scientists would present their findings on their analysis to the investigators in this case. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear this number again, and that is 0. That's the amount of DNA on Samantha Josephson's body that matches Nathaniel Rowland. 0. It's not on her clothing. It's not under her ripped and torn fingernails. It's not on her ankles. The first 12 people not to jump to conclusions about this case. And the 12 people that will come back and tell the world that Nathaniel Rowland did not kidnap and kill Samantha Josephson, that Nathaniel Rowland is not guilty. Thank you very much.
Although the defense had a strong argument regarding the lack of DNA evidence, the state had a crucial witness, Maria, though it was unclear whether she would turn against her boyfriend, Nathaniel Rowland.
What kind of car did he have?
A black Impala.
Did you ever see him drive a different car?
No, ma'am.
And tell Jerry, what's your work hat?
It's like a sun visor with an M on it.
And I'm gonna repeat what you said because you mumbled a little bit. Did you say it was a visor?
Yes, with an M on it for McDonald's.
And where had you left that visor?
In the back window.
Of what?
His car.
Of what kind of car?
His Impala.
Okay. And when had you left it there?
The day before when he picked me up.
And where did you leave it?
In the back window.
So what, if anything, did you expect about that visor when he showed up? Where did you expect it to be?
In the window.
Was it?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask him about that?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he tell you?
That it was in the country.
And what did you say to that?
Why would it be in the country?
And what did he tell you?
It had blood on it.
I'm gonna need you to repeat that.
It had blood on it.
He told you that the visor had blood on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ask him, what'd you ask him? Why
would that have blood on it?
And what'd he tell you? You tell me.
Mind my business.
Mind your business. Did you ask him again?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
Mind my business.
What, if anything, did you notice about the car at that point?
That it was like dry blood in the car.
Where in the car?
On the dashboard and beside the seats. It was a sheet over the back seat and the back of the driver's seat.
Matching exactly with the video of the car at the Wendy's drive-thru, these small details corroborated Maria's testimony and proved to be extremely important.
I believe you said earlier you saw his car at some point on the news.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe you said you put 2 and 2 together.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you again explain to the jury why you didn't call the police then?
Because I was scared.
Scared of what?
For my life and my child.
The prosecution played lengthy portions of surveillance video capturing the black Chevy Impala that night, though it was impossible to make out who was driving. However, the investigators found someone who could identify the suspect, Oshima Williams, who runs a mobile repair shop. Nathaniel went to his shop the next day to sell Samantha's phone. The shop's camera captured Nathaniel Rowland exiting the black Chevy Impala.
Do you see the person who tried to sell you the phone in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is he?
Yeah, right now.
What does he have on?
The blue shirt, top.
Please let the record reflect that he has identified the defendant, Your Honor.
It does.
Thank you. No further questions.
You, sir, may step down.
The defense highlighted a key point regarding Nathaniel Rowland's physical appearance. On cross-examination, they questioned the crime scene investigator about the photos taken of Rowland after his arrest. They wanted to know if there was any visible evidence suggesting he had been involved in a violent struggle.
You don't see anything on him, right?
In what terms?
On his face, as far as scratches?
As far as scratches, no, I do not.
You don't see any marks?
I do not see any marks on his
Cuts?
face. I do not see cuts on his face.
Same thing with the arms?
Same thing.
Both sides?
Correct.
And his hands? Both sides?
Correct.
And these photos that you took, you turned those over to the investigators in this case?
All those photos were turned over to Lieutenant Schenk.
All photos to Lieutenant Schenk. Thank you very much.
Nathaniel Rowland's defense lawyers decided not to present any witnesses or evidence on behalf of their client during the trial. They believed it wasn't necessary to introduce additional testimony or evidence to defend Rowland.
Good morning. You have heard all of the evidence. Now time for closing arguments by the state.
There is no one else responsible for Samantha Josephson's kidnapping and murder. There are 0 legitimate suspects other than Nathaniel Rowland implicated by the credible evidence in this case. There are no other reasonable interpretations of that evidence. 0. Nathaniel Rowland kidnapped Samantha Josephson. Nathaniel Rowland brutally murdered Samantha Josephson. And Nathaniel Rowland literally left her to rot.
With a young woman who is fighting for her life, somebody is supposed to hold this tool with a blade literally pointed in their direction and not injure themselves in some way. How somebody does that is beyond me. It's this long when it's together. Y'all look. Let's try it again. Look at it. Wildly swinging, wildly stabbing, in whatever rage is going on, and there's not a cut on him? How do you accomplish that with this?
Both the prosecutor and the defense delivered strong closing arguments, bringing their case to a close. Now it was time for the jury to deliver its verdict.
Have you reached a verdict?
Yes, sir, we have.
Is it unanimous?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, if you will pass it up, please, and you may be seated. Defendant will rise.
State of South Carolina versus Nathaniel David Rowland. This is an indictment for murder. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
Nathaniel Rowland was found guilty of the kidnapping and murder of Samantha Josephson. In addition to possessing a weapon during a violent crime, he received a life sentence without the possibility of parole.